Welcome to Monday, the 14th day of August 2023. Your Day with the podcast being brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Well, after a cool weekend, especially yesterday across the region, temperatures 10, 15, 20 degrees below average, especially in the northern and eastern areas along the divide. Some upslope clouds there you can see along Interstate 80. Low clouds that you just don't normally see, those dark, low-hanging clouds like that in the summer. But that cool front was pretty strong, and that cool front will keep cooler than average temperatures along and east of the divide today for one more day. Out into the plains, temperatures will not be August-like at all. However, things begin to shift around a bit, and temperatures are going to warm up again. Summer's not over. We are going to see a resurgent area of high pressure grow and build and expand again. And this will bring warmer temperatures, and this cool front has left behind a drier, stable air mass. And so there will be many areas here for the next 3 or 4 days that really won't have much in the way of any shower or thunderstorm activity. Certainly a drier trend than we have seen in a while. Now, as high pressure shifts more towards the middle part of the nation, shifts east, that does open the door to subtropical moisture again. So by late this week, around Friday, and certainly this weekend and into next week, there's going to be a bit of a resurgence of subtropical moisture. So that will lead to a return chance of showers and thunderstorms, especially west of the divide and into the desert southwest, with some of that moisture streaking northward. As we get into this time of year, we do start to see the weather get a little bit more busy. We've kind of seen that with these cold fronts, but we also have the opportunity for high pressure systems to still dominate for a while. And that's what we're going to see here this week and into next. So not going to see as many of these billowing clouds here over the next few days like we got from that shot there. Now with high pressure building and that cold front right here associated with the low pressure, the frontal boundary is right here. You can really see it. Notice there's very few clouds back here. Well, behind this cool front, air came out of Western Canada, the prairie provinces, where the relative humidities are much, much lower, suppressing the subtropical air and moisture that's down here along and south of the boundary. So what we have is a complete air mass change. And here's the low there that we saw in the satellite imagery up over parts of Minnesota and Iowa there. It's going to be heading eastward and moving across the Great Lakes, but dragging the cool front through south and across the area. This high pressure across the west will kind of consolidate and get its act together by the middle to the end of the week. But look at these temperatures. This is the temperature anomaly for noon today. So a very cool air mass for this time of year across the nation's midsection. You can see the upslope winds right up against the divide, really leaving that coolness. A lot of you are going to step outside this morning and swear it's September with the temperatures that we're seeing. However, we're going to see a resurgence of heat as we get to the middle to the end of the week. Here is the dry air behind the front. The precipitable water really showing the dryness, the dry air mass right here. We do have some subtropical moisture hanging back though here. So there'll be a little bit of shower and thunderstorm activity along those green and blue areas, but very dry air in the nation's midsection pushed up against the divide. By Thursday, the high pressure gets consolidated, builds over New Mexico. As it builds, so will the heat. There is another trough and cool front headed towards the Great Lakes in the northeast, so that will cool them off again, but the west will warm up. The air that we just showed you that is much drier is going to really limit thunderstorm activity here for the first half of the week, probably through Thursday. So temperatures will rebound, humidity's low, so you're not going to get much in the way of showers and thunderstorms. By Thursday, we start to see the heat build again across the west underneath that building area of high pressure, while there's still some coolness in the upper Midwest and Great Lakes with that next trough, but that's headed that way. So that will allow the high pressure to build. And so from Thursday into Friday, you see the heat going around the high there. We have an axis of much warmer temperatures along and east of the divide. So it feels like fall today, going to be feeling like summer mid to late in the week. Speaking of mid to late in the week, as that high shifts eastward, we start to see subtropical moisture come back. So we start to see an axis of moisture again right here coming our way. See this area right here? This is tropical activity. We'll talk about that in a minute. That could add some fuel to the fire as well in terms of increasing humidity. So by the end of the week and the weekend, especially west of the divide here, see all that blue? We're going to start to see showers and thunderstorms return. Now, this is the precipitation forecast through Wednesday. So you can see there's going to be some weak shower and thunderstorm activity from the Sierras through the Great Basin into southwest Colorado, parts of Utah. This is kind of spotty activity, really not a lot, but there's going to be some. This is the type of thunderstorm activity that, I hate to say it, but it can be fire starters because you tend to get lightning but not a lot of rain from them. And you can see the dry air mass up here is really going to keep a minimum or no thunderstorm activity at all through the first half of the week. Now, by the second half of the week, the high shifts eastward. So remember a few weeks ago, a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks ago, when the high moved into Oklahoma and Texas, this opened up the flow of subtropical air back into the west. So the same thing's going to happen again. This is why late this week and this weekend, shower and thunderstorm activity is going to return. We're going to see tropical storm and hurricane activity developing in the eastern Pacific this week. And this is a wild card because if these tropical storms or hurricanes, as they move across the eastern Pacific, dissipate, if some of that moisture comes up into northwest Mexico, that can be brought into the U.S. Sometimes what happens, though, and more often than not, they drift westward and basically go out to sea and don't do anything. But if the circulation pattern's right, sometime that subtropical moisture from those hurricane remnants can come on up. And that's just something we're just going to have to see. This is by Sunday. So with the high here in the center part of the country, we have a pretty good ring of heat around it. But you can see the coolness here under the clouds and the deeper monsoonal moisture, that subtropical air again, comes our way. And there you can see by Sunday. So you can see there's a bit of a tropical connection there streaking on up. That should lead to a better chance of showers and thunderstorms. But look at the nation's midsection. This big high, look at the ring of moisture going around it. With that high going more to the north than it did last time, it will kind of shift the axis of deeper moisture more to the north and a little bit more to the west. So this is the 5-day period from Saturday through next Tuesday. So you can see the tropical moisture increasing here, and this will be something we'll watch for the western slope for Arizona, western Colorado, western Wyoming, up and along the divide here. We'll have to see what happens. But we see a very warm, dry pattern develop in the Midwest and the Corn Belt in this period. Speaking of tropical activity, really picks up. We're going to have a new disturbance right here. We've got hurricane and tropical storm activity with named storms already across the eastern Pacific. So the eastern Pacific getting busy, and usually as you get into mid to late August, into early September, the eastern Pacific tends to pick up with its tropical storm and hurricane activity. And that's something you always have to watch this time of year, as it may impact parts of the West. If you go into the Atlantic, still nothing going on at the moment. Now, we do think this will change. But right now, the Atlantic tropical season has been very, very quiet. That will probably change, but for a little bit longer, not much going on there. Have yourself a good Monday. See you tomorrow.